Hey, what's up, dudes? HW here. Shout out to John Cordy. He just put up a video about this topic, and I thought it was really interesting, so I wanted to weigh in. So, the Fender CEO had this quote on guitar.com. I found the article, and it's from 2019. So the title of the article was "The Average Guitarist Will Spend $10,000 on Gear Over Their Lifetime." Now, the actual quote reads like this. It's pretty interesting. He says, "Someone who commits to the instrument for life has a lifetime value of $10,000. They buy 5 to 7 guitars over their lifetime, multiple amps, multiple accessories. They drive the hardware side of the business." Now, at first I was going to get $10,000 worth of gear together. And I sat down and I went to turn around and I realized it was already right here. I had these here. These are some mid-70s Marshalls. Let's call them 3,500 to $4,000 a piece, 7 or 8,000. Down here, a 1969 cab choice T1221 greenbacks, like the speaker. For me anyway, for greenbacks, if you're a M25 greenback fan, it's the greenback. 12, 13 grand right there, right? Come on, stop it. This is like Stevie's, 1979. And here's the thing. Prices have gone so crazy lately that this really got me thinking, what is in today's dollars what 10,000 was in 2019? So I popped it into an inflation calculator. Since 2019, we have seen a cumulative rate of inflation of 14.5%. So that translates to $11,447.17. I'm going to call that 11,500. If people are still consuming the way they did in 2019 when that survey was done, guitar players today spend $11,500 on average in the lifetime. How many people, now you got crazies like me who have all these prices, but who have all this stuff and they buy 50 amps and blah, blah, blah. And look, it's tone junky, right? It's the thing is I'm getting this stuff. This is captured on the Quad Cortex. You know, this is for demos and stuff. You know, these are all on the Kemper and tone match for the Helix. And at the end of the day, the sales fuel more gear purchases, which fuel more sales, which fuel more gear purchases. And it keeps going like that. It's like a ball that gets rolling. And just today, I took my 64 Vibroverb, which is an amp. At the peak, I saw them going for 10 grand. They go for about 8,500 now, I think. I just put a Vibroverb out for free on the Kemper, on the Helix. It's the video before this on the channel, and on the Quad Cortex. So it's funny. We're all spending 10 grand, right? But if you have one of these digital units, look, here's an HX Stomp. If you've got one of these digital units, well, you can get this pretty much the tone of the Vibroverb. You can get this sound, right? Dude, these things were going for insane amounts. And that's the thing. We've seen so much inflation that I wonder, it's not all over, but it's definitely in vintage gear. These were peaking out at like 5 grand. Silvers. The gold horsies were 7 grand, 8 grand. I mean, insanity. I think in 2019, you could probably get this for $1,600, you know? And all my best gear purchases were stuff I bought right before the pandemic. This guitar, for example, this has been an insanely good purchase. Now, Gibson probably has something to do with this because they sort of reintroduced this guitar to a lot of people. I bought this guitar for, at the time, what was the most I had spent on anything. The most I had spent on a guitar. I had spent a little more on an amp, but this was the most I had spent on a guitar. And you know what? It's actually still the most I spent on a guitar. I have not bought a guitar more expensive than this. I paid $6,700 for this guitar. Now you might be thinking, HW, whoa. But listen, Gibson has reissued this. Custom Shop Trini Lopez is like this. This is a 67 Trini Lopez. It's got patent sticker pickups. It's got factory Bigsby. It's got a beautiful case that came with it. It says Chuck Levin's Music Center on the back. It's in really great condition. It's been played. There's a lot of wear from play, but it's just wear of use. You know, there's not really buckle rash. I mean, this is a beautiful instrument. You do not find instruments this good, this vibey, because everybody who plays this thing just, this thing just resonates, man, you know? It's just, I mean, I can feel it here, but People love this guitar when they play it, and it's rare to find a guitar this nice in vintage condition that is not a complete dog, because all the ones that you wanted to play got played and got thrown around and got sold and got everything. Okay. $6,700. Today, I'm very confident this guitar will go for 10 grand, because I see Gibson Custom Shop sells the new Trini Lopez for about 6,000. No one's going to pay more for the new one than a vintage old one. If you got 6K, you'd be willing to pay that for a 67. So they're always going to be more than whatever Gibson's putting out. But I see ones that are in a little more beat up condition with the stop tailpiece, 7,000, 8,000. This one's beautiful, like a choice kind of instrument there. But we've seen that all over, man, all over the vintage guitar world. And the prices, they kind of like really froze for a while, and now they've opened back up again, and I see sales happening again. And I've started putting some stuff on Tone Junkie Vintage and getting some eyeballs on it. And you know, I sell stuff from the collection over there. And I've consigned some things at Carter's, and a lot of the stuff has gone top dollar, like more than I thought it would get, which is nuts to me. But this $10,000 thing, or $11,500, it's really not that much. And it made me think, you know, how many people does it take to get that average? Because that's assuming that's a simple average. How many people does it take to get that average if there's crazy people like me who have 50 amps? You know, and I was thinking of that, and I was like, dang, you know, if you have 20 people, right, or 19 or 20 people, let's say, who they have 2 amps each, okay, 2 amps each. They're going to have 40 guitars. Let's say they have 2.5. Let's say they have 2.25 amps each, right? 20 people with 2.25 amps each, right? On average, right? Some own 2, some own 3. For every fourth person owns 3, and 3. For every 3 people that own 2 amps, a fourth person owns 3, right? They're going to have 50 amps between them. And then I got 50 amps. And that's 100 total amps, okay? And then you divide that by 20, and the average is 5, right? 100 amps divided by 20, the average is 5. On average, it's 5 amps per person. But you know, if you break down those numbers, only one guy has 50. The other 20 people, or 19 or 20 people, some of them have 2. And for every 3 guys that have 2 amps, someone's got a third amp they bought. No one has 5. You know what I mean? Like, it's one of the things, and you think about that, it's like, and then you start to think most guitar players have 5 amps. And it's like, well, it wouldn't be true if you visited them. None of them would have 5. That's the interesting thing, right? Statistics are an interesting thing in that way, and that they are meant to show something accurately, but at the same time really can show nothing accurately. You get what I'm saying here. It's an interesting kind of thing. So that $10,000, it makes me think there's a lot of us. There's a lot of us who are crazy bringing up that number, because I know a lot of guys who play the guitar and they own 1 or 2 guitars, and they're just like that, and they're always like that. And I'm thinking there's a lot of people at 20, 30, 40, 50, 100 grand in here. And it's bringing that average up, right? Because like I said with the amps, the average is, I mean, people got 2 or 3 amps, right, in my example, but the math says 5. You got one Yahoo like me, 50 amps, right, throwing everything off. But it's really interesting stuff. Stuff has gotten very expensive in the gear world, and what I find really interesting is, even though we have more and more people that are on digital units, they have never owned one of these, they've never played one of these, they still want these sounds because they hear people talking about it. And that sort of fuels them towards, I want better, I want bigger, that's the thing I'm after, that's the thing at the top. And it's very crazy. I'll make another video on this, but at some level, At some level, everyone on digital is just going after stuff they want accurate representations of stuff they've never used in the real world. And so they really don't even know how that stuff sounds. I'll do a video on like, that's what owning 50 guitar amps has taught me. Cause it's wild. Anyway, shout out to John Cordy. I love his channel. And he's got I've been doing a lot of his pentatonic, not courses, but his videos on pentatonic runs. And I do feel like it makes you a better player. And so shout out to John. He's got great content. HW, out.